Hello everyone, I wanted to quickly show you a new feature in Edpuzzle that's really, and I believe this, really going to change the game for you in Brightspace, in your presentations, and, well, if you have that issue of students not really watching your presentations and you not knowing whether or not they are watching your presentations, and maybe you want to hold them accountable for it, like adding a few questions to it and then having a participation point drop in your gradebook, I have the tool for you, and that is Edpuzzle's new slides feature. I'm going to quickly show you how to set it up and how to add questions and then how to put it in your Brightspace shell. First, log into Edpuzzle, then go to Add New, and you're going to find Slides. You'll notice you have two options to get your slide presentation in here. One is upload it from a PDF, or two, import it from your Google Drive. And if you have it on a PowerPoint, you can just upload your PowerPoint into your Google Drive and either use it like that or convert it to a slide presentation. If you have your Drive hooked up and you have your presentation in Drive, I recommend using that. It's probably the easiest way. You would just click on that, log into your account, and then find your presentation. The one I'm looking for is dual coding presentation for Edpuzzle practice. I'm going to select it, and it's there because it was the last one I modified. So if you go into your Google Drive and you modify the presentation that you want to upload, it will show up at the top. If not, you can search it and it'll come right up. I'm going to select it. It's going to ask me which ones I want to import. I can deselect the ones I don't, or I can select all. They're already selected, and I want to import them all, so I'm going to import them. And now I have all my slides in here. And now this is where you can add questions to your slide. So let's say you want to add a question to slide 2. You're going to hit add slide, and you're going to get options for multiple choice or open-end. Now, these are the limits with Edpuzzle. It's going to be the same with the videos. You have either multiple choice or open-end, and that's it. You also have the limitation that if you want to select more than one right answer, the students have to select all the right answer for it to count. It can't operate like a poll, for example. So I'm just going to go with multiple choice. And in here, I'm going to ask a simple question. Now put my answers in and then select the right answer and select the wrong answer and then hit save. I can add more options if I want just by clicking add another answer choice. And then now my slide is there. I can go to another slide and I can add an open-ended. You'll also notice that you can use you can record audio here, or you can add an image. You can do both of those. You can allow for audio responses by your students as well. You can set a time limit that they have for the question. No time limit, 3 minutes. Allow for audio responses. So time limit will be disabled for audio responses. You can allow for points. This can be gamified if you like. So now I have 2 questions in here. And again, you understand you can add as many as you want. At this point, I can preview it to see how it will run. And you'll notice that there is a next button. This is what it'll look like for students. And they can just click next. When it gets to the question, they will be timed and they will have a certain amount of time to answer that if you want it set up that way. And then there's your open-ended, and that is the preview. Now, when it's in Brightspace, I don't think the students will have the ability to advance unless they answer the question. When you're finished, Just click finish, and now your presentation is ready to go. Let's go over to Brightspace. Over in Brightspace, when you have your course set up that you'd like to add your presentation to from Edpuzzle, the way to do it is go to the module where you want to set this up. You'll go to Add Existing Activities and find Edpuzzle. The very first time you do this, you will have to connect Edpuzzle to Brightspace. And so it will prompt you to name the class and say essentially what it's used for. And what will happen is in Edpuzzle, your course will be built in there and your students will be connected. So it'll sort of roster them for you. And then it'll drop you into this dashboard where you can search your content and you can look for newest. You can actually create content from here if you want. But in this case, I'm just going to find what I just did and I'm going to add it to my module or somewhere in my module. I'm going to select that slide presentation and I'm going to hit next. From here, I'll probably name it. I can add some instructions. I can add additional activities. So one new thing that Edpuzzle has added is for you to sort of stack activities. So I can put a presentation in there. I can also have a video in there from Edpuzzle. I can add another presentation. I can add a quiz in there if I wanted to. The quiz feature is not one I think that everyone will be interested in because we have something like that already, but you could be because you can stack the activities together. Once I've added my presentation, I'm going to hit next. I can choose how many times they take the questions or how many attempts they have at it. Since it's multiple choice, I can access the unlimited and other options for attempts. But if you just have extended response, this will be turned off. So if you want them to have multiple attempts, put at least one multiple choice question in there. You'll also have the ability to turn on or off a leaderboard for gamification if you want it. Then time limits if you want them. You're going to click Assign when you have all your parameters set up. At that point, it's going to drop your presentation in here, and you do need to do one more thing. So you will need to click on it, and you will need to go to the bottom and set a grade item up for it. So it will drop a grade in your gradebook. If you don't have one already, you'll just have to create one and then give it the amount of points that you want for it. If the points don't match up to the Edpuzzle points, it'll be a wonky number. So try to make sure that you add the points up. You can also give percentages for the points. So I will show you how that works in just a minute. But let's say I put in 2 points. I'm going to hit create and then I'll hit save. Now I have a grade book item, dual coding, and you can see that my points are there and it's an external learning tool. So now the grade will drop in the gradebook. If it's all multiple choice, it'll do it automatically. If you have extended response, you will have to grade it yourself. And just to give you an idea of what that looks like, I set one up and ran through it. And this is what it would look like. This student has completed it. One thing you'll have to tell your students is once they're through the presentation and they've answered the questions, there will be a submit button. They need to click the submit button. This is the same for videos too. So if you notice you have students watching videos and they're not submitted, that's because they didn't watch it all the way through and they need to go back and hit the submit button. A good rule of thumb for videos is to put a question right at the end of the video so that it forces them to watch it all the way through and then hit the submit button. But the presentation, they will actually get a submit button when they reach the end. They hit submit, and if it's all multiple choice, it'll grade it automatically. But you can just see, if I click on the student and I go into the area, you can see that it automatically graded it. But let's say I didn't like the grade, or I felt that they didn't do what exactly I asked them, I can give them a 50% or some variation of it. But that's going to give me a 0.5 if it's 1 point in there, or whatever the amount of points is. You can also give some feedback in here. And you can go in and see, so you can see that this student got half a point because that's how much it was for. You can automatically see it in there. So it's a great tool to use if you want to put a presentation in Brightspace, you want to add some questions to it, and you want the students to be responsible, at least to some extent, to work through that presentation, be engaged with it, and then you can give them points more than a participation point. You can give them points for each question, each slide, or you can just give them a participation point by answering 1 or 2 questions just to get the credit. It's really up to you. One last feature that I want to show you with the Edpuzzle slides and also videos you can do this with. If you go into your Edpuzzle side of things, dashboard, and you find the class that you are working in, and you wanted to, say, in a Zoom session or in a classroom, in an in-person session, you wanted to actually run a presentation and have questions, you can do the same thing with the presentation that I did in Brightspace. You'd have to assign it in everything the same way we just did it, but you could run something called live mode. And when you run live mode, essentially the students would go into the Brightspace module and course and find this presentation that you just uploaded. And when they click into it, you'll run it like this, and they will start to populate here, and you can actually run your presentation and ask questions, and you can control the flow of the presentation, but you can get data feedback, you can keep them engaged, you can have short answer responses, you can show those responses, the students can answer those multiple choice responses through the slide presentation. You can do this with a video. It works the same way. It's a really neat feature. It's not as good as, say, Pear Deck or Nearpod or Quizzes, but it's a tool that you can use for something we really don't have right now, which is the ability for you to run a presentation and ask questions while students follow along, so they're not just zoning out or not paying attention to the presentation or just zipping through it. If you want to learn more about this, reach out to CDI or myself. We can meet with you. We can meet with you in person. We can meet with you through Zoom, and we can help you set these up. We can help you fix any of the problems with Edpuzzle. So please, and if you don't have a full license to this and you want to add more than just 20 activities, because that's the limit without a full license, reach out to me and I will give you a full license. Okay? Good luck with this. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it really changes some things for you and it adds some more engagement to your presentations, your course, your Brightspace course, your in-person, your online, all those things. Thank you for watching.